So my first ever international gig as an up-and-coming videographer at the time was a gig in Sunny Beach, Bulgaria. And this was my first ever real big break as an up-and-coming young videographer. And there was a bit of a difference with this one, not only because it was an international job, but because they had come to me. Up to this point, running my business, I had, most of my clients that I had gotten, they were coming, I was going to them, they weren't coming to me. And this was a big shift in my business because, like I said, they came to me. Not only was it a very big international job, they came to me, and it got me thinking, how have they found me? So after, completing the season, the gig was, I'd go out to Sunny Beach, Bulgaria, around the start of June, back end of May, stay out there for 3 months shooting international artists like big DJs, nightclub videos like promotional videos for the company, boat parties, yacht parties, and the stuff. So I do all their summer content, chilling on the beach, staff videos on the beach, etc, etc. So after those 3 months, I came back fully paid and everything, and used that content to push myself even more. And when I got back, I got on the phone with him. His name was Mark. Got on the phone with Mark, and I was like, "Hey, Mark. I haven't asked you this. I should have asked you before. How did you actually find me? How did you find my Instagram and, like my work and stuff?" And he said, "I literally just Googled on Instagram, or searched on Instagram, Manchester videographer, and you were the first one that came up." And that really struck me because I was like, oh my God, that is how he's found me. Because up until that point, like I said, I was going out to clients. I would Google like events happening near me, or local businesses, like the kind of business I want to work with. And that was a changing point in my business. And from then on, most of my clients were or are still inbound leads. There's very few instances that I actually go out and try to find the client. If work's a little bit slow, I might do that, but most of the time, I've got leads coming to me. And this was a big shift because the power shifted in my favour, because when you're getting started out in business, whether it be videography, a coffee business, whatever, or like a service-based business, if you're going to a client trying to get them to hire you, they've got the power because you're having to suck up to them. They've got the power to reject you and say no. And you're trying to, kind of peacock and show off and say, hey, I'm one of the best, come hire me. But when they're coming to you, you are in the position that they were in, as if you were going to them. You can reject them and say no, and you have the luxury of saying, don't think we're a good fit, yada, yada, yada. And with this as well, if they come to you and they've sent you a message, like Mark did, say, hey, I love your work, would you be interested in working with me, coming out doing a season in Bulgaria? They've already screened you. They've already vetted you, which is a big thing, because they want to hire I've been saying this for ages, they want to hire the best of the best. People don't care what kind of gear you shoot on. They don't care, what camera you've got, what lenses you've got, what gym equipment or anything you've got. They've got a problem and you can offer a solution, and they want the best possible solution they can get for their money. So they've already vetted you and they already like the look of your work, and this is a big thing because you don't have to peacock anymore. You don't have to show yourself off and say, hey, I'm the best, because your content has already done that for you. So I really knuckled down after that call with Mark. I really got down to business and started kind of analysing what I'd been doing up to that point, because I was still at university at the time, so I was still doing lectures, essays and what have you, but in my free time I was building my business. And I was like, oh my God, he'd been able to find me on Instagram because I've been putting out content and using certain keywords, because up to this point I had no idea what SEO was. I had no idea what hashtags really did. I just put them in because people used to do hashtags. They're like the norm for posting on Instagram or social media, you put hashtags in. So unironically, I was building my online business, not knowing what I was doing. And fast forward about 3-4 years, I'm now in a position where I've got just leads coming to me, all because of that one thing, that phone call. The build up to it, of course, mattered, but that phone call with Mark really shone a light on this. And this leads me on to the subject of today's video, and that is how to get high ticket leads, high ticket clients coming to you for video or any kind of business. This can be applied to any type of business in the 20th century. So what you need to do, what I learned was you need to put out content. It's got to meet to a certain standard, but most iPhones, it can be shot on an iPhone 4 because the iPhone 4 has got decent imagery. The content's got to be to a certain standard. It can't be less than, like the standard 720p, and the audio's got to be good. If those basic requirements are met, the video content quality side of it's good. The main strategy is you just got to post consistently, because up until that point, up until Mark had found me, I was posting for about good 2, maybe 3 years, just content, my portfolio, tips and tricks, how to get paid by a client as a videographer, etc, etc. And by doing that, it's like what I like to call the snowball effect. The snowball kept building, so I would get 2 subscribers or 2 followers from a post, and then I get 5, and then 10, and before you know it, I've hit 1,000 followers, and then I'm getting engagement after engagement after engagement, and that of course is pushing me up to the first ranking for Manchester videographer. And people don't go to the second page of Google anymore. You don't even go to halfway down first page of Google. So you've really got to be at the top. You've got to be like the top 2, maybe 3 in your niche. So if you're like a gym owner in New York, or if you're a videographer or photographer in London, those are more competitive, but you've got to be up there, because like I said, people are lazy, right? People don't scroll for days and days unless it's TikTok or something. But if they're trying to find a supplier, they're not going to keep scrolling. They're just going to go for like the first couple that they see. So the content that you've got to be producing in order to get high ticket clients, to get them coming to you, is you've got to first position yourself as an industry expert. Because if your profile is full of nonsense, it's going to turn them away. So what I did is, when I had that phone call with Mark, I separated my Instagram into 2 sections. I had like informational stuff that was for clients, other videographers, but I only restricted that. There's a section, if you go to post a video on Instagram, you can change it so it doesn't appear on your feed. It only goes to the Reels section of your Instagram. I unticked that. So I would have the Reels section full of all of this content. It was still pushing it, but it wouldn't appear on my main feed. So what I used to do is I used to post 2 types of content going forward. My portfolio, which was on my main feed, and then like informational, like general content that I would only post on the Reel section of my Instagram, and that wouldn't appear on my feed. So I was still pushing out there, I was still positioning myself as an industry expert, making myself desirable to these high ticket clients, around the world. I've been to multiple different countries. I made myself very lucrative to the business. They look at the look of my work. So I would put out this content, but it would be to their pain points. So if I wanted to target a gym, I'd go do some research, find out what a gym's struggling with, like what's the top 3 things they're struggling with, and I would make videos revolving around that. As long as it's nicely lit and the audio's decent, all you gotta do is literally just pull out your phone. If you don't have a tripod or any lights, set it up next to your window on some books and film yourself. Literally, it's easy to do. There's no excuse anymore because everybody's got a phone. So do that, and then deliver. What makes you the industry expert? Picture yourself. One of the best things I got taught was, when you're talking to a camera, picture like you're in a podcast, you're talking to someone normally. So picture your ideal client, which in that case is a gym owner. Say, hey, one of the main things that gym owners do struggle with, you can even make a bit of a white lie. Say, the clients that I work with, other gym owners that I work with, their main struggles is getting new people onto their memberships. People actually joining the gym, yada, yada, yada. Picture it as if you're talking to your ideal client, and it makes it so much easier, because a lot of people do struggle talking to the camera. Content creation isn't for everybody. But do that and keep posting that consistently across your social medias. But there's a key thing to take away from this is you can't post. You've got to post, but it's got to be in the right places, because you can do hard work, but the hard work has got to be meaningful. You can't do hard work, like, take me for instance, if I want to improve my video business, I might go on Canva for 5 hours designing a new logo. That's hard work, because obviously I've been doing it for 5 hours, but it's not really the best use of my time. It doesn't make sense. In those 5 hours, I could get my entire list complete, my to-do list for the day done, and then I could go work on the logo instead of faffing about yada yada yada. What I'm trying to say is, do hard work. You've got to have hard work. It's got to be posting consistently, but it's got to be stuff that matters. So do content. Don't just post any random farce, any random nonsense. Make sure the content you're producing is content that is targeted to the correct type of client that you want to attract, and also post it on the correct platform, because there's no point trying to attract weddings. Let's say I shoot weddings, I'm a wedding photographer. There's no point posting content for brides and grooms, like tips and tricks, how to make it easier for photographs on your wedding day, if you're posting that on Twitter, or if you're posting it on TikTok, because brides and grooms aren't on Twitter and on TikTok. They might be a couple here and there, but the majority of brides and grooms who are getting married are on Facebook. So make sure you're posting the correct content, and you're posting that content on the correct platform. And that is how you get high ticket people, is doing that, putting the hashtags in, the keywords, so you make yourself discoverable, and then you just keep doing that over and over and over again. And kind of going back to my story. So after I had that call with Mark, that's literally what I did. So I started off doing event videography, and that's how he found me. Searched Manchester videographer, Manchester event videographer, and he found me. And then after that, I would just post content, boom, 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 boom. But it was targeted at event organisers, because that's my portfolio. I'll do content relating to what event organisers was doing. And then after that, I started, the next year I went through to Greece, because I was still putting out content. One of the business owners that you support events on in Zante found me, went out to Greece, shot there for about a month. Last year I was out in America. This year I just went out to Lisbon in Portugal. It's a snowball effect. Even if you will get leads, low quality leads, but the more you keep pushing it, the more Instagram's going to push you out to the higher quality people. It's just a snowball. Just keep doing the snowball, because when I got off the phone with Mark, and a month or two later, I started getting more and more requests in, but they were only like £50 to £200 budget gigs, fairly low quality gigs. But then after some time, like 6 to 12 months, I started getting more and more high quality leads, £5 to a grand upwards of the budget, bigger budgets. And I only got to that point, only got to those high ticket people, because I built the snowball, and I had to go through the low paying clients, because the low paying clients, depending on where you are in your journey, will pay the bills. You've got to do that, otherwise you're going to have to go get a 9 to 5 and abandon your business. But you've got to keep doing the low paying gigs, and that will eventually lead on to the higher paying gigs, because then what they will also do is also recommend you to their friends. And then that's another way that you can get high paying gigs, but that's a separate method entirely. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to go over that method. But this is the main way that I get my high ticket videography clients. So yeah, if you have any questions, do let me know down below. I am getting more active on this YouTube channel. I haven't posted for about 3 months. It's when I was in Lisbon, being very, very busy. But if you want to keep up to date with me, what I'm doing, follow me on Instagram at Jack Fernley. And yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm more than happy to help you out. If you do want mentorship, I do offer a mentorship program, a little bit more in depth, to help you grow your business, your video business. If you want to do a certain type of, a certain type of video on the channel, do let me know. If you want to know how to get paid by a client, if a client isn't paying you, what do you do, etc, etc. But hope this video has been helpful, and thanks for watching. See you next one.